Hello, and thank you for watching 24 Plus. I am ABC24 anchor Pepper Baker. We are just over the halfway point of Memphis Mayor Paul Young's first term. Now, from handling the fallout of a national police brutality case, data centers, and the federal task force to his massive affordable housing initiative and trying to keep the peace between local, state, and federal partnerships, there's been a lot of action in a short amount of time. It has been a while since we've had him in the ABC24 studio, so we requested to get a little bit of a check-in, and we are grateful that he accepted. So thank you for joining us, Memphis Mayor Paul Young. We appreciate you being here.
Oh, glad to be here.
Perfect.
Glad to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Let's get started with just, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. You know, it was a very busy holiday weekend, and all together, I think from a city of Memphis perspective, we've been working really hard. I think we're starting to reap some of the benefits of that hard work and look forward to doing more.
Obviously, yes, that's good. We will unpack a lot of that.
Yep, I'm sure.
But I do want to start with some recent headlines, and the holiday weekend brought one, and that was a shooting in downtown after 4th of July festivities in the early morning hours of Sunday. A Tennessee National Guardsman shot and killed a 20-year-old man named Tyron Johnson, who allegedly may have been armed and then turned towards guardsmen with the gun, and that's when they fired. You did have a statement that said, all 4th of July events across Memphis were celebrated safely and successfully. This unfortunate incident occurred around 4 a.m., well after the festivities had concluded. That's in part. So I just wanted to ask, one, when you heard about that, your reaction, and then two, in your statement, were you trying to kind of separate city activities from the chaos?
Well, I think it was just a point that I wanted to make sure was noted, because I was downtown earlier that evening at Tom Lee Park at an amazing festivity that was hosted by Downtown Memphis Commission. A lot of families, a lot of kids, a lot of people out having a good time, and to see the tragic event unfold at 4 a.m. It's just definitely unfortunate, and I don't know all of the circumstances of what happened. Certainly I've heard things, but the investigation is now being handled by the TBI, so we want to let them complete their investigation before I make a lot of statements about it.
Yeah, definitely. And anybody getting killed is just, unfortunate for sure. I did want to ask, though, about just what can be done to prevent these things. There's been a lot of talk over the years about, closing down Beale Street. This was near Beale Street, wasn't necessarily on it, but closing down Beale Street earlier. Just anything that you maybe would be considering?
I think Beale Street gets blamed a lot of times because it is an attraction in downtown, but oftentimes the negative events like this that take place aren't happening on Beale Street proper. And so I don't know that it's necessarily the closing time for Beale Street. I think it's really a matter of us making sure we have proper coverage in downtown. It may be that we look at not just on Beale Street, but all around downtown, thinking about earlier closing times and times when we can clear the streets of pedestrians. And if you're in an establishment, then that's okay. But if you're out walking around, then we need you to get to a destination to try and prevent some of these negative things from taking place.
Yeah, that's a good point. And it seems like in this incident, which we're still, working to see if that was exactly justified or whatnot, maybe some would say it's a good thing that the National Guardsmen were armed, but there was a talk or discussion as to whether National Guardsmen would even be armed. Where did those discussions kind of go, and when was it decided that National Guardsmen would be armed? Yeah,
when all of this started, one of the things that I wanted to do was have discussions around how they were going to show up in this community. And we didn't want them to have the long guns and have a very intimidating presence on our neighborhood streets. We didn't want them to have tanks and Humvees, those big military-like vehicles. And they decided with that feedback that they would have sidearms, so there's weapons on their side, and that they would use transit vans to move around. During the storm, I think they brought down some of the Humvees, but for the most part, that's what they've been using to get around. And it was really just a conversation around how they actually show up, since they were going to be here. Again, it was a decision that was not mine. It was decided that they were coming here by the governor and the president. And so my goal was to make sure that as they come here, that they show up in a way that does the least harm for the community.
We did have the network reach out to us asking for any information we had about the National Guardsman shooting that happened. Just, how do you feel about yet another national interest in shootings in downtown Memphis?
Well, I definitely don't like it. I mean, it's not the reason that I want national news outlets coming to our city, but it's something that happened, and it's something that we will deal with and get through as a community.
You were previously the Downtown Memphis Commission president, so how do you feel like they pulled off the July 4th celebration?
Oh, I thought it was incredible. I liked the addition of the drone show. It was really cool, and I think it's only going to get better from here. So I appreciate them and Memphis Tourism and all the other partners. The Grizzlies, I think, participated as well. A lot of partners came through. Just make it a Memphis day. Like I said when I spoke there, the 4th of July, this was America's 250th anniversary, but it was really an opportunity for us to just celebrate Memphis and the things that are going right. We know we have things to work on, but as a community, we should be proud of the things that are going right in our city. And it's just another opportunity to amplify that.
I was at the Redbird Stadium, and they had a really great show, so that was really awesome. I want to move to another current event that made headlines under your leadership and administration, your new hires. For Chris Winston for Chief Operating Officer, Art Davis, Chief Financial Officer, and Greg Dotson as the interim city engineer. Why did you feel the need to make these changes?
Well, these are people that are incredibly talented. I mean, Chris Winston came from FedEx, served as the Chief HR Officer for all of the FedEx employees worldwide, a Memphis guy that grew up right here, and I think he went to Kirby High School. So, he's somebody that I have known for a number of years, and I thought that he would make a great chief operating officer for the city. Art Davis is someone, he was already leading our Treasury Department, and I've known him for a number of years, very strong and capable. And similarly, Greg Dotson, who's come from the private sector in engineering, has done a lot of amazing things in his career, and we're glad to have him. And for me, it's really about accelerating all of the work. We have some great things underway. It's time for us to make sure that we get them over the finish line, because the people of Memphis they're waiting on us to execute. They're relying on us to achieve our goals, which are their goals.
Mm-hmm. I saw Councilwoman Jerry Green echoed a lot of their experience as well, so that seems promising.
Yeah, it's promising, and I'm excited. We had a conversation with the whole team today, introducing them to everybody, and a lot of excitement in the room.
So I did hear some things that people wanted answered. I know Winston's replacing Antonio Adams, Davis is replacing Walter Person, and then Dotson, I know he's interim now, but replacing Manny Bellin, thank you. Were those firings, or were they amicably parting ways?
All of it's amicable. Okay. I mean, but it's all parting ways, and for different reasons. And I try not to focus too much on the people that have served. They served and they did well when they were there, and now it's time to do more. Okay. And that's where we put our emphasis.
So was anybody surprised?
I don't think anybody was surprised.
Okay. All right, well, fair. Let's talk about the third current event here, the wastewater treatment facility within XAI. You released a statement late June saying that you had met with the Space XAI president, and they were committed to building this wastewater treatment facility that will then alleviate resources and pulling from the aquifer and whatnot, TVA and everything. So tell us about that meeting, and how can Memphians trust that XAI will keep its promise?
Well, it was a good meeting. It was a follow-up meeting from a conversation that I had with SpaceX, their government affairs person, shortly after the announcement had come out that they were pausing. I just so happened to be in D.C., which is where he was, and so I went to their office and sat down to express how important it was to this community that they follow through on their commitment. This was one of the things that they committed very early on when we told them that we had been working for about 8 years to get a recycled wastewater facility so that we could support TVA, which uses about 6 million gallons of water, up to 6 million gallons of water per day. And they have a well drilled into the aquifer. And that's how they cool the facility that actually powers our whole city. And so we'd been working towards this for a while. When they made that commitment, we were all obviously excited. They did a groundbreaking last fall. and they had been under construction. So when they paused it, it was concerning. They reiterated in my first meeting that they would restart. They didn't give me a date at that point in time. They were still looking at things. And so this follow-up meeting that President Doug McGowan from MLGW and myself held with them, we were very intentional about saying we need to give us a date. You will start by what date? And they committed to the first quarter. I think they'll probably move a little bit faster than that, but they committed to get it done by the first quarter, get things restarted. In terms of what holds them to that, this is not something that they have a contractual requirement to do because this is on their dime. They did agree to buy land from the city, and with the acquisition of that land, there are requirements that it must be used for a gray water facility. The facility has already commenced, so there are already tanks on the site right now that they're actually still stabilizing on the site, even though they have paused the major construction. They're still doing some work on it. Okay. And so the fact that they actually closed on the land, and that was after they had said they were doing the pause, indicated to me that they do have intentions to complete it, because why would they close on a sale on land that they know they couldn't use unless they build the thing that they're committing to build? So that was one positive step. The other thing is, I think they would rather be able to use this recycled wastewater to cool and not have to use the water from MLGW, and they can get revenue from TVA as they provide that water to them as well.
You've had to facilitate partnerships on a whole other level that a lot of people haven't had to deal with. I mean, both in the private sector and federal government as well. So, you know, there was a lot of protesting around XAI, obviously, environmental concerns. How would you consider them a good neighbor? There's not a lot that people know that you know, obviously. You're dealing with them face to face, you know, but since protests have happened and we've seen the concerns in the news, are they doing things that maybe the public doesn't know too much about?
I mean, I think they need to speak more for themselves and be vocal, and I've expressed that to them. They need to be vocal about the things that they are doing. I would say that as a city, we have, and something I want to do moving forward is codify some of the things that we've done, but I think that we have asked of them the things that protect our environment. The biggest issue with data centers is the use of power and the use of water. When it comes to power, we got them to agree to be a part of our demand response program, which means whenever we have peak power moments in our city, they will reduce their power down. Most companies agree to do it to 60%. They agreed to go to 0%. They completely come off the grid whenever we have peak power moments, which means it's not displacing power for someone's home when we have those moments. They also agreed to build this gray water facility. So it addresses those two major needs of addressing power and water. In addition to that, we put forth the community benefits ordinance, which takes 25% of the property taxes, because data centers don't create a lot of jobs, but we wanted to make sure that the communities most adjacent to those data centers have the direct benefit of the capital. So we take 25% of the city taxes, and we're going to plow that within a 5-mile radius of those facilities. And so I think those are the types of things that cities are going to be looking to do moving forward, and Memphis has kind of set the mold.
Would there ever be a chance to see like a mirror building skyscraper of XAI in downtown Memphis?
I don't know. I definitely want to see more skyscrapers. I'm agnostic to who is the occupant of the skyscrapers, but we want to, and you know, we can occupy some that are already existing, like 100 North Main, the former Morgan Keegan building, Raymond James building rather, all of the Steric building. Like, those are some structures that we have now that I'd love to see some private businesses come and occupy. Okay,
definitely. And last point on XAI here. So data centers obviously are like the talk of the town across the country.
Yeah.
I feel like XAI, you know, there was a lot more people paid attention when it moved into Memphis. So you mentioned it being like, you know, Memphis is somewhat of a setting a precedent when we talk about regulating and accountability on these data centers. Have you felt like there's been an added pressure to every decision that or partnership discussion you're having with XAI? It seems like every move you make is setting somewhat of a precedent of how these major billion-dollar data centers are held accountable.
Yeah, I don't necessarily feel the pressure of it. I feel the responsibility of it. And it's important to note that this is a new, like this wasn't happening 20 years ago. This was not a conversation even 10 years ago. Like communities weren't having these discussions around what to do with data centers in your community. Right. And so we are at the forefront of that conversation, and I understand what that means. I talk to mayors from around the country on a very, very regular basis. We have our own channels of communication where we're talking about these things, and we share examples with each other of how we're dealing with it. And I can tell you that there are a lot of people that are looking at how we're handling it and trying to codify ways to get some of the things that we've gotten out of this. Mm-hmm.
We did learn recently that it's becoming almost a national security issue. Our Sam Hardiman with Daily Memphian wrote about how they are using XAI to help, find targets for the military. So with that added there, it's really not going anywhere, huh?
Yeah, no, look, artificial intelligence is here. It's not something that's coming, it's here right now. And when you look at, with XAI, we now have Anthropic, which drives Claude, which is leasing out the full Colossus One. You have Google, which is leasing space on with XAI. So we have 3 of the world's largest artificial intelligence providers in the world that are right here in Memphis. And my goal as mayor is to figure out how do we turn that into economic opportunity for Memphis. Mm-hmm. Like that's with all the debates and all the protests, the bottom line for me is how do we get more for our people in Memphis, and that's my compass.
And you did mention the property tax incentives that will go back into the community, but if you're talking about Google renting space, the other one that you mentioned, Anthropic,
which drives Claude.
Sounds like there's much more money here that could go back.
Much more money and much more opportunity. I mean, I think we have an opportunity for our kids to be at the forefront of driving how do we use artificial intelligence in a way where we're creating new economic opportunities, more businesses, more training opportunities. Like all of those things are the possibilities that I'm now working to try to push those companies into supporting our young people.
Okay, well, hopefully we'll touch back base with you on that progress. I want to move now to just your partnership with the Memphis Safe Task Force. Mm-hmm. I know we mentioned the incident off the top there, but again, another thing that got a lot of pushback when it first was announced. How would you feel, or what do you say about either the challenges, the benefits, the pros and cons since the Memphis Safe Task Force has been here? What was it, September of 2025?
September, yeah. I mean, I think that it's important to remember how it started. Like, this was not something that I asked for. This was something that was happening, and it was coming to Memphis no matter what we did. And my goal was to make sure that as these individuals come into the community, that they integrate into the approach that we were already doing, because we were seeing progress. By the time we got to September of 2025, we had already seen a 27% reduction from where we were in 2023, mm-hmm. Which was one of the highest crime years in the 2000s, second only to 2006. And so that was prior to me coming in. And by that point, we'd already achieved a 27% reduction. We had set a goal of reducing crime 40% year over year for 4 years so that we would get to a 40% reduction by the end of my first term. Mm-hmm. As we stand today, we're at a 42% reduction from where we were in 2023. So we achieved our 4-year goal in 2 years. But it was because we found a way, as these individuals came into our community, to integrate them into the programs that we already had underway. We already had a fugitive task force. We already had our multi-agency gang unit. And so we found an approach to use their ability to do investigations and research so that we can solve crimes better. I think we were at a roughly 43% clearance rate when it comes to homicide. That means that 43% of the people that were killed in a homicide, we found their killer. we're now at, I looked just the other day, it was 86%.
Oh, wow.
So the people that are committing crimes are getting captured and going to jail. And we are also investing through our joint office in nonprofits, programs that are focused on prevention and intervention. It's the both and approach that I committed to before I came into office. I'm even more committed to it now because we know it works.
And you mentioned the numbers that it was already going down before the task force came in. There was a conversation we had on our political commentary show about resources versus boots on the ground approach. And now the DOJ is offering money for cities to start their own task forces, but the language is more so for resources as opposed to just invasion, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that, given that they kind of use Memphis as a blueprint, but the deal doesn't necessarily feel the same?
Yeah, well, we're going to go after those resources because we want more dollars to go towards the efforts that work. And I think that what the feds found was that our approach of the both and, obviously they have a lot of law enforcement resources that are here, but we're also invested in the community side. And I think that if we're truly going to reduce crime for the long term, then you have to turn our young people towards opportunities that are going to change their lives. If somebody does something where they commit a crime, then we have to hold them accountable. They need to be arrested and they need to go through the court system quickly, which is something that we have challenges with. Our courts move way too slow for different reasons, but the system of justice is slow, but we want people to move through that process quickly. But the best alternative is to prevent them from committing a crime in the first place, and that starts with opportunity.
Yeah, that's a good point. Chief Deputy Anthony Buckner had mentioned how the partnership between the Memphis Safe Task Force and local law enforcement is invaluable because these local officers are getting to see these federal agents. I did want to ask, when we see an incident like what happened early Sunday morning, do you know anything about just if the training for officers, is there a look at the policing to make sure that, last resort situations to pull your gun? I know that may not be a question you can answer.
There should be, but I can't answer it.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know their level of training. I know what we do within our police department, but that's a question for them.
Yeah, fair point. Okay, so moving on a little bit from Memphis Safe Task Force, though, I did want to just kind of touch on the fact that we are seeing a lot of state and federal control focused on Shelby County right now. Just had the Tennessee congressional redistricting happen.
Yeah.
Memphis Safe Task Force has been here. State takeover of Memphis Shelby County Schools, if you will, Airport Authority, and even the DA's office seems to be getting targeted. And this is, falling under your leadership. How do you feel about that? And then how do you assure Memphians that they're not losing local control of their own city?
Well, I definitely am a proponent for local control. I believe that local residents know the community best. We don't have, the state is going to do what the state's going to do. And my goal is to make sure that as they make those decisions that we get as much local influence on them as possible. With the individuals that were selected on that school committee, they're good people. The people that I know that serve there, they're very capable, strong Memphians. And if the state is going to be engaged in any of those entities, my hope is that they are selecting folks that truly have Memphis at heart. And I think we just have to roll with the rules of engagement as they are today. And as conditions change, we can shift some things back. But my goal is to make sure that we navigate this moment with strategy. And my strategy is keep Memphis first. And it's not always how loud you are, it's how thoughtful you are about how you get to the end result that you're looking for.
Those appointments were made by Governor Bill Lee, the Lieutenant Governor McNally, and then House Speaker Cameron Sexton, which, a lot of people thought it was going to be white Republicans. Are you surprised, or what do you think of their appointments? Do you think that
I'm not surprised. I know that they've talked to people locally about the folks that they were going to put in those positions, and like I said, they had a strong slate of people, and I think it's important that Memphians that have relationships on the other side of the aisle that are people that talk on both sides of the aisle, that we have that level of communication and strategy so that they are aware of the people here who will work in the best interest of Memphians.
Wonderful. Let's go to the city budget, which you just got approved and passed, and congratulations
Shout out
on that.
to the city council.
There you go.
Yes, for
$900 million
budget.
spending plan. Yeah. 2% pay raise for city employees, $400 million for police and fire, $150 million for capital projects, $18 million to fight blight. No property tax, though.
No
I feel like
property
that's
tax.
the underline
Yes.
there. What were your non-negotiables?
Property tax
Yeah.
increase.
Good.
I mean, we definitely didn't want to increase the burden. We have a lot of needs in our community, but we also know that things are getting more expensive by the day, and we wanted to try to ensure that this was a year where we weren't increasing our property tax rate. We also wanted to make sure that we were doing something for the employees. I know that people would like to have higher than 2% increase, but it was something that we could afford. And our teams had to work hard to shave down the budget to get it to where we can absorb the increases that we had with the salaries. And what I will say is that I think we have a budget where we're going to be able to execute, deliver. We have $20 million in paving, up from $16 million last year. Also included in the budget is $3 million for an asphalt plant. This is important because it's thinking about the future. Mm-hmm. By us building up our asphalt plant, it's going to reduce the cost for us to go out and pave more lane miles. So it means that we're going to be able to continue to do a better job with paving. If it's one thing I get knocked or I hear the most in community is fix these potholes.
Yes.
And so, we hear them loud and clear,
yeah.
and we want to make sure that we're doing that. And so we have major projects like Southwest Twin, community centers, libraries, pools, Glenview. Like, there's so many things that I believe our residents are going to benefit from as a result of this budget that I think we should all be proud.
I can appreciate that because I've had to change my tire or buy new tires 3 times within a year. So,
yes.
I've had my fair share. Now, I do drive a Ford Fiesta, so those tires are small. So, but Councilman J.B. Smiley suggested a 19% increase. It did not happen, obviously, and that was more of just kind of seemingly something he threw out there. But he did mention that, the city needs more money. Is that something that taxpayers may see in the future?
Every individual person is trying to figure out how do we get more revenue to do all of the things. And the most direct way is a property tax increase. But the best way is to get growth in our city. And the way that we get growth in our city is by building more housing, which speaks towards our 10,000 housing unit goal by 2030. By growing the economy and getting more jobs in our community, which reducing crime helps to create a climate where we can get more jobs in our city. By having a stronger workforce, that's why we launched a goal of 5,000 people workforce ready by 2030, and enhancing the culture. That's why we're supporting our Office of Cultural and Creative Economy and trying to emphasize music and the nightlife. Like, all of those things speak to growing our community. And while we're talking about budget, all of the things I just described are intended to help us address population growth. When we have natural population growth, then it relieves pressure on our budget. And thankfully for our city, we have a lot of opportunities where people can build new houses, where businesses can come and grow. And so those are the types of things that I want to focus on rather than solely looking at raising taxes.
Yeah, that's a good point there. And this is the back end of the interview now, and I did want to touch on that. I'm happy you brought up the affordable housing plan, 10,000 affordable homes. And you're doing a lot of this, I found out, through people who are, general contractors here, that it's providing them with a job and opportunities as well. So how is that progress going? And then, how does the partnerships work with people who are helping build these houses?
Yeah, it's going well. And what I'll say, just for clarification, it's not just affordable housing units. We're looking at affordable and market rate housing, because what makes neighborhoods strong is having the diversity of incomes in our neighborhoods and the community. So our goal to get there is going to be achieved by looking at our zoning code and our regulations for what types of housing our neighborhoods allow, but also what is our incentive structure, what kinds of programs can we put in place to make sure that we're closing what we call the appraisal gap. There are some neighborhoods where it may cost you $150,000 to build it, and you can only sell it for $100 based on the appraisal. Right. And so someone has to come in and close that appraisal amount. Who's going to give the additional $50,000 to the developer so that they're made whole so they can actually execute the project? And so we're looking at programs to do that. One is the Essential Housing Program with the Community Redevelopment Agency. They've been doing incredible work where they took 68 vacant lots and they have 18 different developers, contractors that are now building housing on those lots. It's a really, really creative program that I'm really proud of, and we're going to be doing a lot more just like that.
Yeah, and that perfectly segues. I want to take 5 more minutes here. We're at the 30-minute mark, but and that's where we like to cap it. But I just have a couple more questions because you recently interviewed 3 former mayors, Mayor Strickland, Mayor Wharton, and Mayor Harrington, which I watched, and I thought those were incredible. And it was really interesting just to see the similarities of what you all go through in this position. Yeah. Lots of criticism you all get and how you navigate those things. One, how was it being like a journalist?
It was cool. I won't be coming for your job. You're safe. But no, it was really cool. For me, it was really just about being able to connect the continuity of leadership and the fact that the things that we want to achieve are not just for the short-term wins of today. Like, we're setting the stage for 25 years from now. When I was talking to Mayor Harrington about his pursuit of the Grizzlies, that happened in the late 90s, early 2000s. And now I'm in the seat as mayor while we're trying to renegotiate a lease to keep the Grizzlies here for another generation. It wouldn't have happened if he wouldn't have taken the scrutiny that he took during that moment in time. My kids don't know life without the Grizzlies. Right. They can't imagine a Memphis without the Memphis Grizzlies here, but it's because of what he did. And so my goal is to make sure that this next generation of young people have that same luxury. Yeah,
and he also mentioned the private-public partnership that came with that, and it's crazy to think that that would have gotten backlash, giving the economic growth that comes from an NBA team or any professional sports team. Did that kind of, not hit a nerve, but just find any similarity with how you've been able to handle the whole XAI stuff?
What it did was it showed me that, one, that all of my predecessors dealt with similar pushback on some issue or another, but you must govern for the future. And it's your job to explain and talk to the public about why you take a certain position, but you also you're elected to make decisions. And I feel even more confident right now, today, than I did when I started, that the things that we are looking to do are the right things for our city. And I'm going to continue to have the conversations to explain why I have the perspective, and I'm going to continue to let my perspective be informed by the public. And these are things that I heard from them as leaders and former mayors as well.
Yeah, Mayor Wharton seemed to be the man of all the quotes. He had a lot of quotes in his.
He's a quotable guy.
He did mention like re-election and how he did not want to be re-elected on anything that would have put the city into bankruptcy, even though at the moment it seemed like that was what people wanted to do. And I just thought that was really powerful I wanted to talk to you about re-election and just what you think you'll have to do or what your strategy is to win another term, if you even want to win another term.
Oh yeah, we will win another term. My strategy is just keep doing the work. I think that the progress that we've already made, Memphis is a better place than we were 2.5 years ago when I came in. Just the conditions, the weight, the environment is totally different. I feel it every day. There wasn't a room I could go into where crime was not the topic of conversation when I came into office, and there was a heaviness that came along with it. We've been successful in reducing crime. It's not over. There's still more that we have to do, but we've reduced it to a point where it's made space for us to talk about the broader challenges, the economy, opportunities, housing, the things that are going to stabilize our city long term. And so those are the things that I'm going to continue pushing and working in that direction. I think the public will agree that we have to continue to work.
And I noticed you interviewed them all in their kind of place of their legacy. You had Harrington in the FedEx Forum, Wharton at AutoZone Park, and Strickland at the Leftwich Tennis Center. Where would your place be?
I don't know yet.
Good answer.
I
like
don't know
that.
yet. We still have work to do to find my place.
Maybe affordable housing projects.
Yeah,
That's huge.
Yeah, I mean, if I was picking now, it would be one of the housing developments that I've worked on throughout my career. And you know, the interesting thing is I started on Foot Park at South City back when I was the housing director in 2016. And we just cut the ribbon for the last phase earlier this year. And so it just shows how long it takes for these types of projects to actually manifest. And so, you know, things that we're putting in place, they take place over 5 to 7, 8 years. And so, you know, I'll figure out my place a little later.
How are you coming on just small businesses, making sure that they're seen and heard and felt in their part in the economic development and growth?
Well, we recently passed a small business enterprise ordinance, which is going to help facilitate small businesses doing business with the city of Memphis. So I'm really excited about that and some of the things to come in that space. But we understand that small businesses are the lifeblood of our city and that the bulk of the people employed in our city are employed through small businesses. And so we want to make sure that they're continuing to find opportunities with not just the city, but we want our big corporations to also support the small businesses in our city as well.
That part, yeah, that's huge. Okay, lasting questions here. I promise we're going to get you out of here.
Problem.
Scrutiny, because I know you mentioned, you asked all 3 of the former mayors that. How do they deal with scrutiny? Some of the things on Facebook I saw circulating, one person said, what problems has Mayor Young even solved? How do you feel about that question? And
I mean, the problems that we're looking to solve are very, very deep problems that have existed for generations, but crime is one where we are making progress. I would say, you know, in cleaning up blight in our city, we're making progress. The aggressive approach that we're taking with our property owners that are neglecting their responsibilities is something that I think is going to reap dividends. There are properties like Somerset Apartments, which was owned by people that were doing the wrong thing by this community for many years that are now in the hands of the city, and there are others that we are also working to get control of that I think is going to change the face of a number of our neighborhoods in the city. So there's certainly more, but again, the problems aren't solved. So I don't want anybody to say I solved crime because there are still things that happen, but we're making significant progress in the areas where we need to make progress.
yeah, I think Pepper Tree Apartments and Serenity Towers dominated our airwaves for a while there.
Yep. All of which we now have control of.
There you go.
And we are addressing.
When people say, are you a Democrat, moderate, or a closeted Republican, how do you respond to that?
I mean, I'm a Democrat, and I think that Democrats, there's a spectrum of Democrats. They're moderate, there's further left, but I'm a Democrat. And, you know, people are going to question whatever they want, but I state what I am, and I think my actions support it.
All right, last note here before I just, we wrap it up here. I just would be remiss if I didn't ask you about a more personal note here. I know one of the ugly sides of being a leader is when people who oppose you start to threaten your life. And that was certainly the case for you and your family with the man named Trenton Abston, who's now facing federal charges for attempted kidnapping and stalking. And he had made his way to the front door of your house. One, I hate that you even have to kind of see this video of him right now because I'm sure that's triggering. But what feelings come to mind when you, one, hear his name, understand that this even happened, and how do you feel about him facing up to, I think, 20 years in prison? Yeah,
well, the courts will work through whatever the court process is. It was very clear to me that he's someone that needs some mental health support, but I think the tone of politics in our country has become far too divisive and far too personal to where people feel like, they need to do harm to someone who's elected to a position. I think it just shows how people can take social media and all of the things, the news, the media, the things they constantly see, and how it can change perspectives such that someone could take those kinds of drastic actions. And I think we have to have more direct dialogue, communication. If I could have talked to the young man at some point prior, maybe it could have been avoided. I don't know. I mean, I hate it for his family, for my family, my kids that still are scared about it. But you know, it's one of those things when you come into elected office, like, you don't imagine that someone would try and harm you because of a position that you take. But it's just one of those things. I just put God first and let him handle the rest.
How do you plan to ever talk to him?
I would.
You would?
But you know, obviously we're gonna let the case play out. But
Wow. And how is your family doing?
family's good. Family's good.
Yeah, that's tough stuff there. All right, last question here, because I'm getting the sign from the back of the house. Anything that you just want Memphians to know about the last part of your first term and what they should look forward to, and as you head into preparing for re-election?
I think you could look forward to us really doubling down on the things that I believe are the future of Memphis, which is more opportunity in the form of workforce jobs, more emphasis on cleaning up our neighborhoods, focusing on housing, and more activities for our young people. We had 3,000 young people working in summer jobs this past summer, which is a tremendous win for our community and our young people, more young people than we've ever employed through the city of Memphis. And that's not even counting things that the county might have been doing, or other programs like our law intern program through the city of Memphis. So, you know, I'm really excited about the future for our young people, and you can expect us to do more there.
Okay, well, we'll certainly be reaching out to you about all that progress. Thank you so much for the time, and hope best of luck to you, really, because you got a lot cut out for you. But thank you all for watching ABC24. Please stick with ABC24 for all of our political coverage, and thank you for watching on 24+.